have with us also the Deputy Director of the Liaison Office of the Central People's Government in Hong Kong, Ms. Lu Xin-ning.
有请中央人民政府驻香港特别行政区联络办公室副主任卢新宁女士上台。
We have with us the Deputy Commissioner of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Commissioner's Office in the Hong Kong SAR, Mr. Yang Yirei.
有请中华人民共和国外交部驻港特派员公署副特派员杨义瑞先生。
We also have with us the Convener of the Executive Council, Mr. Bernard Chan.
香港特别行政区行政会议召集人陈志思先生。
And last but not least, we have with us the Chairman of the Friday Culture, Dr. Herman Hu.
还有 Friday Culture 的主席胡晓明博士，有请。
As you can see, our officiating guests are standing in front of the pillars of power.
那现在呢，我们将会举行一个简单而隆重的一个启动礼，要有请呢我们台上的几位主礼嘉宾呢，把你们的手放在我们的主礼台上，我们将会一起来倒数3声，然后把手呢放下去。大家准备好了吗
？Let's all count together. 3, 2, 1, press. Okay, everybody. 3, 2, 1, and press.
新时代国际传播高端论坛正式启动。
Congratulations, we declare the conference open. Okay, I'd like you just to stay in place for a moment while you get we'll have a photographs first, and then we'll get a souvenir from Dr. Hu.
没错，有请我们台上的主礼嘉宾呢，一起来看向我们大会的摄影师。我们先来一张大合照。同时也要有请呢我们在座的那么多的记者朋友们为我们来记录下这个珍贵的时刻。
Thank you. Do we have the souvenirs for your presentation?
要有请胡晓明博士为我们来致送纪念品给我们台上的主礼嘉宾。那我们今天真的非常的高兴呢，能够看到有那么多海内外的重量级的领袖和学者呢，为我们来做出分享。
I'd like to invite some of the other organizers and friends of the group to come on stage. We have Tam Yu-jung and Kennedy Wong from the coalition with us. Please come up, Mr. Tam and Mr. Wong. And other friends and supporters, we have Nick Chan, Whitman Hong, Henry Ho, Vincent Ho. Please join us on stage.
好，我们现在呢也是请出了香港再出发大联盟的谭佑宗先生、黄英豪先生，以及我们其他的一些 Friday Culture 的合作伙伴和我们的支持机构的朋友呢上台，包括呢有陈晓峰律师、有洪为民教授、何伟峰博士以及何建宗博士。
Oh, I see. Oh, good news. Mr. Paul Chan has arrived. Financial Secretary.
哇，陈茂波司长呢，真的是来得非常的及时啊！那我们要有请呢香港财政司司长陈茂波先生上台，和我们的一众的主礼嘉宾一起来一张大合照。
Mr. Chan has arrived just in time for the official photograph. For those of you watching from overseas, official photographs are very important in Hong Kong. Nothing happens without a photograph. Pictures or it doesn't happen. That's what we say in Hong Kong, right?
因为疫情的关系呢，所以很多的嘉宾呢今天是无法来到香港啊。但是呢，我们是记录下这个珍贵的时刻，待会儿也要传给我们海内外的各个朋友们来看看我们今天的盛事是怎么样的。
That's right, Jenny. We go to the supermarket, we take a picture, we have a meal, we take a picture.
Right.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'll ask you to take your seats.
好，我们要有请台上的嘉宾呢是到台前就座，同时呢也要有请胡博士留步。
All except for Dr. Herman Hu. I'm sorry, you have to work. So, Dr. Herman Hu, Chairman of Friday Culture, will be giving the welcoming remarks.
我们要有请 Friday Culture 的主席胡晓明博士为我们致欢迎词，有请。
Thank you, Nuri. Good afternoon, Mr. C.Y. Leung, Mr. Paul Chen, Madam Lu Xingning, Mr. Yang Yirui, Mr. Bernard Chen, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to give you here a very, very warm welcome. Although this conference will be relatively short, I'm confident that it will be highly influential and hopefully even have an impact on the future because of the importance of the theme that we are examining. Our focus is Hong Kong and mainland China, and our theme is international communication in the new era. History is full of moments when you look at what's happening in the world. You know what? The world needs to calm down, sit down, and have a good long talk. It works for individuals. There's no reason why it shouldn't work at a higher level for countries and superpowers. Some people say members of the human race ought to be all friends. I'll take it one step further. Surely we are more than friends, right? We are part of the same family, all 7.9 billion members of us all. How can we inspire members to act more like a happy, united family? How can we create more understanding? Working together is not just something nice to do, but a necessity. Our planet faces many difficulties, and putting our heads together is a crucial tool to ensure humanity's survival. Tim Berners-Lee, the computer scientist who devised the World Wide Web, once said, "We need diversity of thoughts in the world to face new challenges." Talking of putting heads together, I want to acknowledge and thank our partners at the Hong Kong Coalition. This is a group of some of the finest minds in the city, and they have provided enormous help in setting up this event. I also want to take a moment to introduce Friday Culture, a new name you see on banners around the room. Friday Culture is a media group which celebrates cultural diversity, promotes peace, and shares insightful stories in a good-humored, positive way. The aim is to help all of us rise above the challenges of the information era. Many people say fake news is a problem. That's true, but the so-called real news can also be a problem if it is misleading or agenda-driven or produced in bad faith. Friday Culture has researchers and journalists on board. We can fact-check things and set the record straight at high speed. We chose the word Friday because that's the day of the week often ends with good conversations among friends. We choose the word culture because we believe a broad range of interests is less polarizing than just a focus on politics. I invite you all to visit our website, fridayeveryday.com, which we launch on May the 21st, which is the day, the United Nations World Day for Cultural Diversity. Up to now, discourse about the region has been controlled by the Western mainstream media, which is rather loudly pushing a narrative which unfortunately tends to be more than a little negative about this region. In contrast, our side of the world has been relatively quiet in telling the other side of the story, although we have lots of good stories to tell. So let's talk, let's share, Let's listen, and above all, let's learn together. Life is not a zero-sum game, where if one person wins, everybody else loses. No, we can all win instead. That's how it should be worked. One day, I would like to click on the news section of FridayEveryday.com and read a headline, "Breaking News. Today, there is peace on earth." Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hu.
谢谢胡博士。
I do like that. I mean, we're both in the news business. Breaking news, peace on earth.
Right, and I'm looking forward to that day, and hopefully it's today.
It could be today, couldn't it? But probably not. Let's be realistic. Okay, now we begin the main part of the conference, which is on a very important topic. To give the keynote speech, we're delighted to invite Mr. C.Y. Leung to speak on the mission and role of Hong Kong in the construction of the national image.
现在我们要有请香港再出发大联盟的总召集人梁振英先生为我们发表主题演讲，主题是香港在国家形象建构中的使命和角色。So, Mr. C.Y. Leung, please.
Herman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. 2 days ago, the Financial Times published a full-page report under this heading, Wall Street's New Love Affair with China. Obviously, it was not about coronavirus or Xinjiang. It was about American financial businesses breaking into the promising China market. The story started with an announcement a few days earlier of Goldman Sachs' wealth partnership with the state-owned Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. The deal could allow Goldman to draw on the savings of hundreds of millions of the bank's Chinese customers. The report went on to say that China, I quote, is opening its doors wider than ever to foreign firms. I quote again, against this backdrop, some investors say the biggest risk is not getting into China quickly enough. While firms such as Goldman have a long history in China, the recent reforms that have swept across the entire financial industry will allow them to expand much further. For international investment firms, China is the world's most clear-cut opportunity. Now, these are the quotes from Financial Times report on the wealth management market in China. We also hear about how hard the life insurance companies of the world have been trying to break into the China market, especially the bridgehead market of Guangdong. Foreign life companies have just had their starters in Hong Kong. The main cause is the mainland of China. So to the international audience, the China story is not just about politics. It shouldn't be. International politics may on many occasions be a zero-sum game, while business is about expansion and win-win. The world's businesses, from small entrepreneurs to multinationals, from CEOs to the public shareholders, are equally interested in what China has to offer. China as a dependable supplier, as a huge market, or as an investor. After all, China is the most populous country, the second largest economy, and the fastest growing sizable economy in the world. The China business story is not just about the financial sector. I was in Lingang a few months ago, which is one of the Shanghai free trade zones where Tesla has its huge China plant. The scale of Lingang is overwhelming. More to the point, I was pleased to pass by a signing ceremony between China and Japan. The two countries had just started to collaborate on hydrogen-powered vehicles. So, from wealth management to life insurance from financial services to making cars, from electric cars to hydrogen cars, from the United States to Japan, the audience is out there waiting to hear the China business story, not just political debates. Everyone knows the huge size of China. Everyone knows the speed of changes there. Every business wants to know their prospects in China. Everyone knows that only the surface has been scratched. Everyone wants to act fast and have the first mover advantage. And everyone wants to hear not just the whys, but the whats, the wheres, the whos, and more importantly, the hows of doing business in China. 2 months ago, the Hong Kong Coalition co-organized a webinar on Hong Kong's prospects under the National 14th Five-Year Plan. The theme of the webinar might well be the world's prospects under China's National Five-Year Plan. The webinar attracted an audience of over 1 million worldwide, 40,000 of whom were English listeners using the simultaneous interpretation service. The National Five-Year Plan is not the only China story. What about the Shanghai Five-Year Plan, the Guangdong Five-Year Plan? What about the bold reforms of Shenzhen that were announced earlier this year on the 40th anniversary of the founding of the Special Economic Zone? And the prospects of the Greater Bay Area and the Yangtze Delta? In the past 12 months, and thanks to the governments for giving me exemptions from quarantine, I visited nearly 20 different mainland cities. Some were my regulars. On every visit, I discovered new opportunities for Hong Kong, and by extension, new opportunities for foreign businesses. And every time upon my return to Hong Kong, I have new stories to tell about China. Qingdao is fast developing its maritime business. It is now the 8th largest container port in the world in terms of throughput. It requires services such as maritime law and insurance. Ningxia is fast becoming the largest wine-producing region in the country. It needs markets and know-how to climb the next rung of the global ladder. Jiangsu province, with a population close to Germany's, has just surpassed Germany in terms of electricity consumption because of its fast-growing manufacturing industries. Trade in Guangxi is doing extremely well with its ASEAN neighbors. The new land and marine routes for western regions, which is a railway from Chongqing and Chengdu to the ports of Guangxi, is offering real and immediate prospects to the trade and logistics businesses of the world. Then, of course, there are the cities in the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area. Nansha, which is a region of Guangzhou, is creating a Hong Kong zone, leveraging on the nearby Hong Kong University of Science and Technology campus, which will open its doors to the first batch of students in September next year. I could go on. As a user of global news services, I don't come across any of these stories. In the past 2 years, China continues to surge ahead, opening its doors wider to other countries, and at the same time, reforming its own economic sectors. News about the country, as reported by the international media, have been mostly confined to politics, a result of agenda setting by Western politicians who want to distract from their own government's poor performance and failures. Hence, China is associated not with the false allegation, only with the false allegations of genocide and of the suppression of human rights, democracy, and the freedoms. Disruptions to international travels in the last year due to the pandemic have given such politicians more wool to pull over the eyes of their people. Before the reforms and opening up policy was launched in the late 1970s on the mainland of China, to most other countries, Hong Kong was the best conduit. It was the best entrepot, not only for goods and capital flows, but also news, information, and analysis, on matters both political and economic about China. Hong Kong also had the best news source and the largest research talent pool when it comes to China. Since the reforms and opening up, Hong Kong has been the single largest source of foreign investments, and the Hong Kong population on the mainland is the largest among all expatriate populations. Hong Kong has the best first-hand information on the country. In recent years, international media organizations have relocated part of their presence from Hong Kong to the mainland, ignoring in the process the unique capabilities of Hong Kong in China research, in interpreting China news, and in telling China stories. Resources allocated by media organizations to the coverage of China does not match the fast-growing importance of the country and the changes in the country as a news subject. The result is a serious defect and a cause for concern. What the audience gets, more often than not, is selective, patchy, and sketchy. Hong Kong has a unique mission and probably an even more unique role in rebalancing the range of China subjects in which the international audience should have an interest. We in Hong Kong definitely have the unique capabilities in sharing our knowledge and views with the international media, or by direct messaging to the international audience. The recent national census reveals that at least 370,000 Hong Kong people reside on the mainland, every one of them a witness to life in China, and everyone a good story source. We owe it to ourselves and to the one country, two systems arrangement to reach out and speak out to the international community. We should present the people of the world with a full range of stories of China. The real China story must come out. The balanced narrative must come out. Hong Kong should take this international podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr.